Hey guys, when we are working with average face, we can just, once we reach this part, we can just go ahead and fit the nose here. You don't have to worry about this depth, right? But if you're making someone specific, then you're gonna fit the iris of your sculpture with the iris of your transparency, and you're gonna raise this part a little bit so that the nose of her is gonna fit the right spot on her face. Okay, so we're gonna do that first, but I'm not gonna do that right now. First, I'm going to get to some parts here. As I said, I posted the link on the group today of my YouTube channel and of this class, the nose class, which I go and I talk about average nose anatomy. But here we're gonna be more concerned about her shape, the shape of her nose, right? But there's some average things that is really important to know. And look at this image here. This is very interesting. So when you're an adult, your angle of your nose is more of a square angle. And when you're a baby, it's more open, so it goes up. So these are things that are important to know. And this is like idealistic nose shapes here, so female from male, and this is kind of like what is more ideal shape of the nose if you're just making up a nose, for you to don't go so I wouldn't say wrong, because we have all sort of noses right there, but more idealistic, right? That's just like how they're saying in here. And what I want to go through with you is to let's kind of memorize the name of the area, so when I mention during the class, then you guys know what I'm talking about. So let's split the nose in some areas here. Let me just get closer here with the camera, right there. So the beginning of the nose, I consider this part here, and this part here is aligned with the center of the eyes. So it's also aligned with the center of the head, because the center of the eyes line is in the center of our head. So if you go, you get your head from the top of your head to the end of your chin. So this is the red line here. And if you split in half, you're gonna find exactly the center of the eye. And this is also the beginning of the nose, right here. Okay? So let's call from this line, from the center of the eye, until we reach that part here, not the tip, not this little ball that we have in the end, but before. So this we can call bridge, right? So it's this long portion that we have here. From the line of the center of the beginning of the bridge, until the eyebrow here, is the root. We call the root. Let's call it the root. And that area here, that is, there's different shapes. Mine is really like a ball, but there's different shapes. But you can, if you put your hand in your nose, you're gonna feel that this is not a bone, this is a cartilage. So this is the tip of your nose. So root, bridge, tip. And this part that goes outside is the wing. So we have two wings, one in each side. The hole that we have is the nostril. And this part here, between the nostrils, is the septum. Okay? So once we know that, and I'm mentioning in the class, you guys know what I'm talking about. Something else that I like to teach, this is very, very clear in my YouTube channel, is the shape of the nostril. That is not, this is very important, because a lot of people go and make a ball or an oval, and it's wrong. It is actually goes straight down here and it opens here, making this kind of like a triangle shape in here, right? But again, we're not going to be worried about that. We're going to be worried about hers. So we're going to study her nostril shape as well. So everything in the nose is important. All those parts that I mentioned, we're going to have to look at them and really, really pay attention to to make sure that we are going to get the right shape of her nose. So the first thing that I start to study the nose shape is this. Let's go for the last theory here. So that is, we have only 3 different kinds of noses, and find out which kind of nose you are making is really, it makes it really easier for you to get the right shape, because sometimes you get the shape when you look to the front of the nose, you can see the shape, but when you look on the sides you can't, or vice versa. You make the perfect profile, but when you look in the front you can't really see the same shape. And I was like, what's wrong? I can't really understand. And it took me a little bit to realize that until I understand, like, oh, okay, that is what is wrong. So I'm already going to teach you guys that, and then you see that it's going to make it really easy. So there's only 3 ways. If you share the nose in, you make a ball for the tip and 2 balls for the wings, like this. 1, 2, 3. I made it in red here. I hope you guys can see. So if you split it in these 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, you can only have these 3 kinds. So the kind number 1 is if the tip of the nose is higher than the wings, right? So if you look in the front, this is what you're gonna see, and the nostril will be this kind of cut. It's gonna be with this inclination. And if you look on the sides, on the profile, it's gonna be higher as well. So the tip of the nose is higher than the wings, and the nostril, you can see, is with this kind of inclination here. Shape number 2 is they are aligned, so they're kind of in the same line. So the tip is aligned with the wings. So what you see for the nostril is like a straight line here, and on the side is the same. It's kind of like a straight line here. And nose number 3, the tip of the nose is lower than the wings. So when you look in the front, you can barely see the nostril. If you look in a different angle, you probably will see the nostril like this inclination, so it's the opposite of this. And on the side is also the opposite. And of course the profile here, it will depend. You can have it like a bone going up, or you can have it down. It all depends on the natural shape of the person's nose, or if she got plastic surgeries, who knows. So knowing that, of course, you're gonna have some noses that are almost number 2, but they're a little bit lower, so we can consider the number 1. So it doesn't really matter if you're gonna consider number 1, 2, or 3, but pay attention on that. Where is the tip of the nose, and where are the wings, if they are posed like lower or higher than each other, and follow through this, because then you're gonna have the same nose looking on the profile and looking on the sides. Okay, so let's find out about her nose now. So let's start taking a look at her nose shape. So this is her profile, and if we split here and make the tip of her nose and the wings, you can see that her kind is kind of number 3. The tip of her nose is lower than her wings. Then once you know that, and you measure with your pachymeter, caliper, you measure with your caliper. I'm just gonna make sure to show this. You measure it, and you have already like a very good notion of what you're working. And then you just have to pay attention on this line. So you see she has a little bone. Her nose have an angle that is very it's a strong angle. It doesn't go up like that, it goes down. So this is also a big characteristic for hers. And hers is number 3. It's kind of gentle number 3. Here you can also see that the tip of her nose, oops, here. The tip of her nose is lower than her wings. So you can always see that. Yeah, I think we can start just with those informations, and the rest we are definitely going to measure. Okay? So the biggest, the stronger characteristic for her nose is that lower angle that goes down very strongly. I don't know the word for that in English, but it really goes down instead of going this. I think average goes a little bit like that more. If you're making like a white person, it goes where you can see more often is more like this, and hers goes like lower like that. There's another profile in here that is also good. So this one, if you look, is a little bit different of that one, but because this one you can still see the eyebrow here, so it's just an angle thing. Also, what you can see here is that her septum is big. It's not, she doesn't have like any flat here, it's a big septum here. So there's also another important characteristic. But anyway, we're gonna follow the transparency, right? So as I said, the first thing, we are not gonna do the nose still. What we're gonna do is we're going to press our clay a lot so we avoid moonies. And what happens here? Why do I put this first? Because this is where the nose is gonna touch and finish. So you start your nose here and you finish here. If you don't have this part with the right height, at least it doesn't need to have the same shape still. But if it doesn't have the same height, you're gonna mess up the angle of her nose, right? You can put it too low or too high. I'm gonna put kind of like a thick mustache that is gonna take over all this area, here. So I already have the cut of the lip, so I'm gonna fill it up, all this area here. The way that it goes here and here, if it goes a little bit bigger, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do this shape after. So what I want right now is to get the right height, and I'm just gonna make sure that is rounded. When I put in the face, it's gonna keep rounded like here. So here is rounded, right? Like here. So I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna make sure that it still is rounded. Like this. That's pretty much it, what I'm gonna do right now. And of course, now I'm going to measure. So I'm gonna put my skull, my transparency, and I'm gonna match the iris of my sculpture with the iris of my transparency. Once you fit the eye, look, you have to look 90 degrees, don't forget that. Then you're gonna get the right angle like this and this to make sure to fit here too. So mine is not in the right angle. Here I can fit and bring it a little bit more here, otherwise my chin won't have space. See? I have to make sure that the chin can still fit here. Right here. And then after I get this right, I will press this to match her line. It's kind of like I can't really see it, but I have to try to fit her line, not the red line, the line of her philtrum here. Okay, it's really really weak to see, but that's the line that I'm gonna try to fit. So mine is lower than her line. I'm pressing a little bit higher here because I pressed too much. So let me go higher again and measure again. I was more trying to show you guys what to do than actually trying to get mine right. So again, let me place the eye. Now I'm not gonna try to place it according to the camera, sorry, but I really need to look at it with my own eye, and I'm in a different angle of the camera, so I'm gonna do it here with my eye. It's also important that you close one of your eye and keep the other one open to do that, because if you don't, you can get it wrong. So fit everything in the right spot, the cut of the mouse as well, and then you put in the right height. So here is the right height. It's not in the right shape, but it's in the right height. So let me show now to the camera. So can you see there? Look, the eyes are matching, and this line. I can't really see when I look to the camera because it's so small, the image. I can only see, I saw that in my computer. Sometimes I show and I look, it looks right for me in the camera, but it's not. But anyway, I'm gonna move a little bit until you guys can see it. You have to match this and the eye at the same time, still leaving space for the chin to be in the right position. So here, alright, so spend your time there to get this as closer as you can for her, and you will get the better result. Oh, there's also something else. Be careful with this printing stuff. If you can, the best thing to do is put inside a plastic album, you know, those plastic albums, because sometimes this is if you do laser printing, I don't think that happens, but sometimes this can kind of come out in your fingers and you can bring this color to your sculpture. So if you notice that you're getting like dirty sculpture, be careful, it might be your printing. So if you can put inside a plastic is better. Or you have to be very careful, like don't place your sculpture over your printing like that, because you're gonna get it dirty. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of clay here, and I'm going to place the nose. So the shape, the basic shape that I do is kind of like that, but it's really just for you to fit in there, and you're gonna work on this a lot still. And I'm gonna fit it in here and press it. The important part is, actually, let's just cover this first, it's better. So cover this with another clay so you don't have the risk to get bubbles. Usually I just press mine in, but let's just do the right thing here. So you cover, then you know there's no air in there, and you can fit the shape of your nose better. So don't worry in getting exactly what I got, because this is really just the beginning. You see, you can do that, or if you rather, that's how I do. I just do like this and start pressing in. If you rather, you can only come here and fill up the end like this and start bringing out. Well, you just need a little bit of clay here. A little bit. That doesn't look like a little bit, but it will. We're gonna get there. Okay, so obviously it's going to need to be higher than that, because this is where the nose finish. And now we're gonna put in here. We're just gonna glue there, glue, stick, I don't know. Make sure it's connected. I'm not trying to get any shape in here. Connect it all together. I'm gonna connect these two so it doesn't look so weird. And what is important is don't lose your lip cut here. Make sure it's going to still be in there. We can remeasure that after, of course, but once it's already measured, let's just try to keep it. And connect it all. I'm afraid I'm gonna have air in there because there was a big space in there, so I'm gonna make sure to press it in, not because I want to give any shape here, just to avoid the air. And then if I need, I can add a little bit of clay if necessary. So yes, it does look weird. It doesn't look like Amy Winehouse at all, but hold on. We are going to get there. Now I'm going to place again my transparency. So here you guys can see better. So I match up the iris with the iris. I think it's matched up for the camera as well. I can't see because it's so small in the camera. And the tip is almost, see? But what is missing is some nose in here. And this part of hers is way taller than ours. Than mine at least. So it's missing a lot of clay in here. And then we're gonna have to put in there. This is the root, so we're also gonna do the root of the nose right now. We don't need to worry about the forehead, but if it makes it easier for you to see the shape of the nose, you can go ahead and add some forehead. So I'm gonna add a little bit of clay here for the root of the nose. And a little bit of clay here for the part of the nose that is missing right there. So now really slowly I'm going to try to find a better profile. I'm not going to do the perfect profile still until I have the nostril open, but I just want to have same volume of nose, kind of like a basic shape. And then I work on the details after. So that is already looking better. See? And if you feel like it, you can probably you will feel like it. It's gonna feel more right if you add the forehead as well and get it all right at once. So just open softly the forehead, and we're gonna work on the forehead shape after, but just get the right profile right now. And get more clay here. Don't forget to knead the dough every time that you get new clay. This clay I already kneaded on the machine, but every time I get a little piece I make sure to work on it a little bit harder. I'm going to add here on top of the eye too, just to don't look so odd. Just so it goes like slowly. Don't be just in the center like a big huge tall thing, so just kind of like do it all. And here I'm not going to worry about the shape in here on the eyebrow or anything, just I'll do that after. I'm just trying to really get the profile. So let me show you guys kind of what I'm getting. See, they're still missing forehead, but the iris is kind of fitting the nose, and this is kind of fitting. The lips is still missing here too, and we can add that later, or you can add that now. It's depend on how you feel better. So this is what I'm going for. So I am going to add the forehead just because it's connected, right? The root of the nose is connected to the forehead. So the same thing that was connected here. I'm going to find the right height here. Not worrying about the shape, but at least the right height for the forehead. I'm going to try to find. So I work a lot with my memory as well, right? So once I look to the transparency and I see where is missing, I try to remember, and I just go here and add, and then if I verify, I check again with my transparency and keep on adding until I have kind of the same shape right there. I know it looks weird without the bottom lip as well, but slowly but surely we're gonna get there. So just adding some forehead here. Not really a shape, but just don't adding, I'm just not adding just on the center so it doesn't look so weird. So I'm kind of adding everywhere in the forehead, and then I'll do the shape of her forehead after. Make sure it's rounded as well. Same thing I did here. Yeah, you keep it rounded and make sure that the forehead is also rounded in here. We always start with a little monster, and slowly the little monsters start becoming somebody. So don't feel so bad that yours is still a little monster. They all start like that. And just kind of connect everything together so our monster doesn't look such a monster. Just a little tiny bit of monster. Okay. Just try to round it here. And let's check again. Here, it's almost there, so a little bit of root missing here. So, I'm not going to put the root that is missing right now. I'm going to work the shape of the nose in here. So I'm going to connect them again here. And now let's start our measurements. I'm going to measure the beginning of the bridge. So you guys remember, the beginning of the bridge matches up the center of the eye line, right? Remember, it matches all, see? So this is the beginning of the bridge. So I'm going to measure the beginning of the bridge until the end of the nose. So the end of the tip of the nose or septum, whatever is showing here, I'm going to measure it all. So let's try to be as fair as we can with the measurements, because sometimes we see like some shade and we get in doubt of how it is. So you're going to measure here. To make sure you are on the bridge, just do this. And then you make sure it is in the center of the eye. I'll have to go up, and don't forget to look in 90 degrees to measure that, okay? Keep your eyes in 90 degrees, so you're going to measure better. And then I'm going to put my sculpture in 90 degrees as well, so I can't do this, see, to measure. I can't just go and change the angle to get the right measurements. I have to keep 90 degrees, and then the angle comes here and measures, so like this. And then if you don't want to do that, you go like this and measure it. So center of the eye, beginning of the bridge, and end of the nose. So it looks like it's right. So let's measure now the thickness of her nose. So to measure the thickness, we can start measuring, and then it doesn't matter really. You can start measuring here on the center of the eye, or you can start measuring on the tip or all the nostril and the tip. You're going to have to measure this again after you open up her nostril, but just to have a good idea to start, it's good to measure. So I'm going to start measuring here. So try to measure just the shade that you can see, because you can't really see, right, the nose, like all of it. But follow the shade here, because it's not a straight line. This is like smooth. It's a soft, gentle. It gentles goes down. So you kind of work with the shades. And I'm gonna put in a center as better as I can, and I'm gonna measure. So hers is a little bit thicker than mine. So I'm gonna add a little bit of clay here to get the same as hers. And here, guys, really, you don't need to do that. If you rather, you can open the nostrils first and then you do that after. And you're gonna measure this so many times still to get it right, and keep on measuring until you look at it and it's like, yes, that's her nose. I got it. So don't feel ashamed to measure it over and over again. And to take your time, to be slow. It doesn't matter. It's not a competition. So do as much as you can, as much as you have patience to measure it. Work on it. Spend your time here. So it goes according to the patience that you have. Now that I have it, that I have enough clay, I always put a little bit of more clay, and then I measure again, and then I take it off. It's easy to get it right when you take it off because you just use the tool to take it off, right? And once you reach the end of the bridge, it starts opening to form the root and go into the forehead direction. I'm not going to follow hers still because I'm not measuring hers, but just to get it like an average shape, correct human look, I'm just going to open like a little bit here. And then after I try to give the right shape of the root. And I'm going to go and kind of like find the thickness of her nose in here too. Just by looking, I'm not measuring still. And then I can measure. And then I can measure before the tip of the nose starts, so the end of the bridge. I can measure how thick it is. Her nose, it's kind of like thinner than the beginning of the bridge. It goes a little bit thinner. So here, kind of there. Try to get the right shape here. And same with the eye. This is not gonna get dry. Once you get more of her face done, if you notice that something is wrong, go ahead and change it and measure it again and fix it and work on it. So this is about patience, time, and how much you can enjoy doing that and looking for the perfect face. So if you're not enjoying, if you're doing that like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying, find something else to do because that's not your thing. If you don't have the patience to stay here for hours and hours and hours working on that and still feeling happy doing it, then I'm just telling you, like, try to find something else because this will never be fast. It will always be a challenge. It will always be a lot of working hard. So I just add a little bit of volume in here. It was going too low and it was very different of this side, so I kind of match up this side so it's better to see. Alright, one side is absolutely different of the other one. I'll have to try to match them up after. But I think I found a basic shape. So as you can see, I'm not very concerned about everything at the same time. So I go parts slowly, making different parts until I get there. Okay. So now that I got here, I'm not going to measure the thickness of the full nose here in the end with considering the wings. I am just, first I'm going to do the nostrils and then I'll measure the wings after. So for the nostril, I have this picture here. So you always ask for your client, if you're making someone that can send you pictures, always ask a picture that it's from the bottom to the top so you can see the nostril shapes as well. So we are going to work on finding this shape and looking on the profile also try to find the same shape. So what I want to find here is this shape. I can't really see in here, but I can kind of see it in here. So she doesn't have, what I'm looking for is to know if she has this nose. Let me do a big shape here so you guys can understand. So if you look the nose from the bottom, you're gonna see this, right? You're gonna see this, and then nostrils, kind of here, and it opens like this. It opens like this. So just for you to understand what I'm saying is, if you look to the nose from the bottom, you see this. So to make the person, you have to find this shape, because some people have this very like a mushroom, like straight here, and some people have this more like this. So we're gonna try to find out hers. Hers is, For what I can see here, it's more like straight. It doesn't have like any curve in here. So I'm going to make that thin here. And let it open, make my mushroom shape. And once I have my mushroom shape, I'm going to split in half. You can split just in your head, or you can definitely make the line here. I'm gonna make the line so you guys can see what's in my head, but usually I don't make a line, I just go in my head. And I'm gonna start poking the nostrils. So just the beginning of it, I'm just gonna poke here and here. And poke dip, like that. It is higher because that's the beginning, like all the way up, okay? And then I'm gonna go down. Hers, you can see it goes down. This part is like there's an inclination here, so that means that when I go down, I'm also gonna go down and in a little bit for the two of them. So down and in, not much. Then once I get to the center of it, I start going down and out. It's like a butterfly. Down and out. And then I'm gonna try to open as much as hers. So she has kind of opened. It still is not gonna look like her because we still didn't get type number 3 of nose here, right? We have the nostril going, we actually still have number 1, see the tip, and then my nostril looks like it's lower than the tip. So this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna put her nostril, her wings in the right spot. And to do that, you can use your transparency, or you can just measure it. It all depends on what you like better. I'm not going to use this one right now because this one still have the skeleton and I don't even see my skeleton anymore. So I'm just going to start using this. I already put tape on it. And now I can match up everything that I already have done. And then I'm going to bring her nostril to the right place. Let me just match up this really nicely. It's not matching up. And I'm going to go, can't even see mine, okay, here. I'm gonna bring it higher and I'm gonna make a mark. So let's see how it turned out here. And here, see, now I've got number 3, but I don't have I don't have clay in here in the nostril. See, it's missing. So I'm gonna add that. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of clay to the wings here. Actually, just one wing, because I didn't measure the other one. But the other one is a little bit different. So just put it in the right spot here. Here. I mean, not the other one is not different, it's just different way to reach it. Because once we have one, you're not going to use the transparency to reach the next one. You're going to try to copy the one you already have. Here. And then see how when you put the nostril in the right position, you kind of start getting the right nose there. Kind of. And then when you find one here, because I pull this up to reach that, I will the nostril a little bit deeper because I pull it up, so I need to find some depth. There. And now I'm gonna have to do the same with the other side, otherwise I get an absolutely wrong nose. But for this one, I'm just gonna try to match up the other side, right? So I look in this angle and I try to match up here. And also to get the right symmetry, it's very good to look in this angle here. So this is the best angle for you to find symmetry for the noses, like this and like this, and of course all of them, but this one is really one that we forget to use it, and it's one of the best angles to find the symmetry, because obviously everybody's gonna look to the front and to the profile, but from the top to the bottom it's also important, and from the bottom to the top it's also important. So I'm thinking hers is still too open because I didn't measure the thickness, but I'm just gonna find first kind of the same shape for both of them, basically, okay? I'm not going for perfection still, because I don't have this side perfect, so I don't need to worry about perfection. All right now. And once I have the nostrils open and the two wings in the right height, just the height, now I'm gonna have to find the front of the nose just the same, so I'm gonna measure it. So you can also go and measure, match up the irises, and then you can see how our nose is very, very thick. If you don't want to use your transparency, you don't have to, but you can. So always make sure to use everything for the first time you're trying. Make sure to use everything, and then slowly you will figure out what works better for you. If it's measuring, if it's the transparency, but make sure right now to use the two of them until you feel comfortable with the one best and the best way to work yourself, because we are all different and we all have our preferences. So this is the measurement of her nose. I'm gonna put in here, and look how much I'm gonna have to change. That's the thickness of her nostril and wings. So I'm gonna have to take this all in. Try to not lose the shape that you gave in already. Just bring it more in. That's why I didn't look for exactly the perfect symmetry, because I knew I was still gonna have to change a lot here. So here, because sometimes I run away from the camera to put it closer to my eyes. So I'm just trying to find the right thickness. Let me see if I got it right now. Still smaller, has to go smaller. So here, here. Now I'm gonna find this shade, because mine is kind of a square, right? Like I made the bridge and then I open up suddenly to make the tip. And hers is not like that, see, it's soft, it's gentle, so I'm gonna soften mine here. Even if I still don't have the same thickness, if it's not right, but if I do that, it's gonna even help me to make it more possible to find the same thickness. Because again, it doesn't get so suddenly. And I think I'm gonna measure again the size of her nose here, because I think once I did the nostril hole, it's normal, it always happens accidentally. When you pull it up, you bring the center up as well. And then again, I think I have to go higher. Let me see here. So see, always try to do both. Okay, I see what's wrong. So this here needs to go higher here, the front of her nose, like this part here. So it shows a little bit more of the nostril. Let me go very close now to show that, what I'm gonna do. Put right here, I'm gonna go closer with the camera to explain what I'm doing. So if you look to her nose here, the tip of it, or when we're looking in the front, kind of the tip mix up with the septum, because the tip is more in front and the septum is in the back. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna shape that kind of like a triangle shape in here, because if you look at mine, it's not a triangle at all. See, it's kind of like straight here, and that's not what happens to her nose. So this is what I'm gonna try to do it and get it more a triangle shape here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of clay. Sometimes when you're making someone, you take forever to get the nose. Sometimes you just, boom, oops, oh, look at that, it's just her nose. So we never know what's gonna happen. And that's the fun about it, because if it was always the same, then it doesn't feel very right. You never know the emotions you're gonna get while you're making a sculpture. Okay, so see, this is already getting better. Not symmetrical at all still, but looking more like her nose shape. And then you're going to start working with tiny little piece of clay and a lot of measurements to try to get everything perfect. And you're going to have to use your observation skills a lot here. And again, I'm going to always repeat that. Your observation skills is something that grows with time. So when you start, you can really see something. Don't give up. Every time you make a new sculpture, you're going to be able to observe more details easier and faster. Just keep on the hard work, and for sure you're going to get there. If you can do that feeling pleasure and not in agony because you're doing this. Likeness is not for everybody. Likeness is something slow, something hard. But if you do enjoy it, if you do have patience, for sure you're gonna get it. Okay? So look how it's getting more similar. So this is what I'm gonna try to do right now. It's finding this shape. And measurements. It's too large. I'm gonna just go do this. Stop wasting my time. Because I've been doing and it never get the same thickness, so sometimes I have to kind of be radical. Otherwise I'm gonna be doing this slow, and when I see it's still thicker. So now I'm gonna make the nostril, because the wings it can't be so thin like that. So I'm gonna add some clay, but I'm gonna add from the inside so I don't make the nose larger anymore. I keep the right thicken. Like this. try to get the shape again, because I mutilated her nose. That's better. So looking for the triangle shape now again, but with the right thicken. And this side I still didn't put the nostril from the inside. I can do that right now. So from the inside I'm adding clay, so I can make decent wings, thicken, and then I'll redo the nostril. And now I have the right thicken of the nose. Now I'm gonna find symmetry. So here, guys, really take your time. There's not much I can say, because what I'm finding here is not what you find in there. So it's not because, I know this is gonna sound kind of ridiculous to say, but I'm gonna say because it already happened. So if I take a little bit of clay out here, that doesn't mean you have to take a little bit of clay out here. You have to look to your nose and see what you have to do according to your nose, because we don't have the same shape, right? So I'm saying that because I had some students that I say, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of piece here, because mine was fat and hers was so tiny, and she would go and still take a little bit of clay, which she didn't need to take a little bit of clay. She needed to add a little bit of clay to find the right shape. So don't do what I'm doing. Do what you need to find this shape, okay? It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes people just try to copy what I'm doing, and they will never get the right shape like that. I'm happier. Now I'm very happier with the shape I'm getting. And again, while I'm doing my sculpture, I can always change it. But I'm getting way happier. I know it's still missing some clay in here, but I think for a basic nose, it's pretty good so far. So today we're gonna stop on the nose. So yeah, look, it is getting so much better. I'm almost super happy with it. Look. Okay, this is back there, this is in front here, so it looks bigger, but the measurements are the same. It's just because this one is closer to the camera than that one. Okay, and the profile, forget about that. But for the nose, it's kind of getting there. Okay, maybe here it needs to finish a little bit more here, and it's missing a little bit of root in there, which you can add right now or you can add later. Once you have more of the face ready, you will see more problems, more differences showing up, and then you can always go and fix it. So we're almost running out of time for today, which is alright, because I just wanted to do the nose to give you guys enough time to work on it. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to get the root right. So profile of the root right. So try to get same right amount of clay in here, and let's find the root shape also in the front, which we didn't try yet. So right here you can't really see, so you can't really use the transparency. Well, you kind of can see here and here, but not quite. So I would rather, if you want to use your transparency, as I said, just go ahead and use it. But I would rather kind of following through the picture this time here, because I can see better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure it. First I'm gonna measure the distance between the eye and the eyebrow. So the eyebrow, because we have the center of the eye. So just go ahead and do this and measure that distance here. And come here and place it. Bring it to your sculpture, this distance. So kind of right there. And right there. So you have that. That is here, that is, mine was already right, because as I said, once you practice your observation skill, you get the right place, like even without looking. Okay, so you can do that thing that we did for the eyes to make squares, to see how much it goes, how much it opens, but once you have that measurement here, you're going to measure this distance between the end, because you see the nose comes here, where it reached the eyebrow, and where it reaches the eyebrow, and you're going to measure that. So, kind of here. Mine is a little bit larger, kind of there. So you have this and you have this. It's here and it's here. Now you just need to find, you have the beginning here, you just need to find the curve. So how does this curve goes? Kind of more like this. And then the way that it keeps on going to the eye doesn't matter. You just want to do that part right now. Here. And we're gonna have the right root shape. So we have a complete nose, well shaped. So there you go. This is what we're gonna do for today. I will probably try to find better little details, take my time here, because obviously I'm not gonna be taking the whole time that I need to work on a nose in front of the camera, because you guys are gonna be super bored. What you have to do there is measure all that I said here and try to find this shape absolutely the same. And I'm gonna do the same here. Try to observe better if there's something else that I can make it more similar, if I can add a little tiny bit of clay somewhere in the nose to make it more similar, work on the symmetry between the two sides, looking in this angle, oops, this angle, looking at this angle. See, it's too rounded. Mine is too rounded. I definitely need to make the tip thinner here. So all these tiny little details I'm going to try to find in my nose while you guys are trying to find on your nose. And let's everybody together try to make a perfect nose. Something else you can do, I forgot. You can always get these other pictures here and try to pose her in the same position. So you can try to put exactly the same position and see if you can see the same shape here or here. You kind of like looking down, try to find exactly the same position of hers. Don't worry about the way that she's looking, but just about the nose. And here, try to find the same shape. You can look like this. See, I have to bring this part of the nostril higher here. It's too thick, this part. I have to make it thinner like hers. So look here in this pose, look here, and look here. So compare to all the pictures using the same pose and try to find the perfect shape. Okay? So that's all for today's class. Let's everybody try to work and find the perfect nose. Don't feel bad to spend your time. Spend as much time as you have and as you can. And measure as much as you can, everything. That's what I do. And I'm gonna also spend some more time here trying to find the perfect shape. Okay, so see you all next class, hopefully with perfect noses.